Okay, I'm recording. How's everybody doing out there? This is Gold Pilled here with the Gold Pilled stream. Firstly, I want to apologize for my last video if the audio was a little low. Um, I still have to use my built-in mic on my laptop, but it's probably just for me not speaking loud enough. So I figure if I speak louder, everything should be good from here on out. So this video today is going to be my pandemic story, mainly my SARS-CoV-2 story, but kind of the illnesses that I've had since the pandemic started, and I'll call it a pandemic. So anyway, everything started with me back in mid 2019, and if you guys can remember, that is before the pandemic started. Well, this was about mid 2019, right around when the vape cartridges were making news from making people sick. They were saying, oh, it's the vape cartridges. They have this weird illness coming with it. Don't vape, don't vape. Well, about that time, I caught a pretty kick butt illness, cold. I don't know what it is, but it probably laid me up for 2 weeks, maybe more. And it killed my energy. I had no energy to do anything. And due to having my twins, I need to be up and running. So that was the first time I actually went to the doctor for like a cold, whatever it was. And leading up to that, it started out, I would get really cold, like freezing cold. It just came on one day out of nowhere in the evening. I just started freezing. And I went to bed, and I woke up a few hours later, middle of the night, and I am just on fire, burning up, fever, and drenched in sweat. Literally drenched, where I have to change my clothes. And that's how it started. And I get up in the morning with burning fever, take some Tylenol, it'd take the fever away, and I'd kind of feel fine for most of the day. I'd be able to function, whatnot. And then come evening, I'd get the cold sensations again, go to sleep, wake up in the middle of the night, burning up and drenched in sweat. And that went on for probably 4 days, maybe 5 days. And then that kind of dissipated, but then the sickness was there. And I don't remember too much about it after that. But I did go to the doctors because, like I said, I wanted to know what it was and need to get back on my feet from taking care of the kids. And the doctor checked me out, and it wasn't the flu. They said it was just an upper respiratory infection. Take Tylenol for the fever and ride it out. So that's what I did, and I got better and went on my merry way. Well, about 6 months later, beginning of 2020, well, a little before that in China, oh, here's the pandemic here in America. We're locking down this and that. Well, I'm not sure. Probably about mid-2020, I gotten sick again. And it was another weird type illness, like the cold, but just weird symptoms that changed and kind of evolved or mutated, you might call it, over time. I'm not sure when exactly in 2020 that happened, but I know I was sick in there. It's getting hard to remember them all. But it was kind of different from the first time I was sick. Well, I didn't go to the doctor. I just would take Tylenol if I needed it to make me feel better to function, and just rode it out. And time went on. I was good, okay, feeling healthy. And it was the beginning of August 2021 here. I got sick again. And it was another weird symptoms, and they kept changing. And it was probably about 3 weeks I was laid up beginning of August because I was mad. I was missing the end of summer, which nice weather, getting things done outside, that hampered me, so I was upset. I didn't go to the doctor again. I just wrote it out, let my immune system function. And this sickness, I do remember a little. It was the fever, burning up. I'd get cold every now and again, but it wasn't like the drenched in sweat. Um, I'd sweat a little from the fever, but it wasn't drenched like the first time. And it moved on from the fever, then it went to like a kind of digestive type issues with always constantly needing to go to the bathroom, if you know what I mean. And it eventually dissipated, and by the end of August, I was better, kind of back to normal. And then, lo and behold, beginning of December here, 3 months later, I got sick again. And I think it started with me this time. It started as a kind of chest congestion, or kind of had some mucus start, and then kind of the fuzzy feeling that you're getting a cold kind of came on, and then the fever came. And let's see if I remember that. Yeah, slight fever, and the fuzzy feeling came on in the evening, and the next morning I was kind of still slightly fuzzy. I think it was a Sunday. And then the rest of the day I felt fine. Um, and then into the next day I kind of felt fine. I was like, oh, I'm not going to get anything. Well, then my wife started to get it, and then my little girl got it, and it all started out with congestion in the chest, like mucus, and kind of coughing it up. That's how it started. And then it would take about 3-4 days, I guess, to incubate or whatever, and then it would come out with the fever. The fever would kick in. And with me, the fever wasn't too bad. I'd maybe get up to mid 101s. And after, the first couple of days, I thought I was fine. Then it came back, and then it kicked my butt. No energy, couldn't do anything. Just wanted to, lay down, rest my eyes, relax. And then my wife got it, and about a day or two after mine started, and my little girl got it. And with my little girl, she had a super high fever. It was pushing 103, maybe a little higher. We had to put her in the bathtub with some cold water and ice and stuff to bring her temp down. But she only had that high fever for 24 hours or less. And she must have burnt that bug. And she only ever had low fevers after that, like 101 or 100, 100 and a half, just low grade. She never got up high again. And once she was, over that high fever, which spanned about, 24 hours, 36 hours, she was mostly fine. She had a lot of chest congestion, a lot of mucus coughing up, but she rode it out, for a few days after that, whatever, but she got over it quick. And then my boy, he got it, and he had the chest congestion, but it took him close to a week before the fever came on. And he only ever had low-grade fevers, like 101. It never got up really high like my little girls did. And he went on with fevers for a few days, and then they kind of dissipated, and he continued riding it out with the congestion and snotty nose. He had more of a snotty nose, but he had congestion in his lungs. And my wife, it put her down for about 2-3 weeks. She actually went to the doctor this time because she's big in over-the-counter miracle cures and going to the doctor for prescriptions, and they gave her a Z-Pak and methylprednisone for the inflammation. And I told her, probably don't take the prednisone because, it's good for inflammation, but it also suppresses your immune system. So, what do you want more? But she took both of them, and right after that, she lost her smell. So about a week into it, she lost her smell and taste. And then a few days after taking the medication, she started feeling better. And me, I had the, no energy and weakness from the fever and stuff when it started. And then the fever kind of went away and I was kind of feeling better for a day or two. And then it kind of came back and then it flared my acid reflux up. And I had no desire to eat at all. Like, I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to drink anything but water. I started drinking the water. And um, when it kind of came back here, with the not wanting to eat, my body went into like a fasting mode, or my body wanted to fast, like it wanted to detox whatever was in me, like a detox. And I probably went about 5 days fasting. Um, this happens. This has happened before in the previous 3 sicknesses, once or twice, where I'll fast for a little bit. My body must be trying to detox, and so I couldn't eat for like 5 days. Mainly because I had no appetite. It wasn't my acid reflux, but that bothered me a little bit. And then after the fasting, not wanting to eat, then I lost my sense of smell and taste. But that was like about 2.5, 3 weeks into being sick. I finally lost my smell and taste, and it went probably close to 4 weeks till I got an appetite back and was back to my normal, routine, household routines, chores, taking care of, the house, the kids. Almost 4 weeks. And even to this day, I don't have full smell and taste. I'm getting a little bit of taste, very little bit of smell back. Um, it's more, I have more taste than smell, but both are, um, my taste is probably less than half, probably 30%. My smell is probably about 15-20%. So it's coming back slow. Um, I think this last illness or bout with the illness might have been the worst. It was either this most recent one or the very first one. The very first time I was sick. Either one of those was the worst, the first or the last. And I was joking when we started getting sick about it being the Omicron, and my wife took it seriously and thought, oh well, yeah, it could be. And I was joking. Well, when she went to the doctor, they tested her, and she tested positive. And I looked at the paper; it was a Sophia 2 antigen test. So she tested positive for antigens. What type of antigens, I don't know. But that was the test, and that was the results. Now, with my little girl's high fever, we were kind of concerned, so we called the pediatrician, and they said they would see her by a teleconference, but they wanted a test first, so bring her in half hour prior and get tested before they would see her. So we did that, and she's had a cold. Well, pretty much every time that we've gotten sick, or I've gotten sick, the whole family got sick. It's spread throughout the family all 4 times. So those previous times we had taken the little girl to the doctors, and she had, I think, 1 test prior. I don't recall, maybe 2, but she got tested again, and I don't know what test they do, if it's the same one or different than my wife, but little girl was negative. So I don't put any faith in the tests. I believe they're junk. Um, they have no science behind it, and they can't really prove anything. So I don't base anything on the test. I'm just putting that out there as info for you. But back to the Omicron. They were talking about how this Omicron really mutated. It really changed like 61% from the original, which is insane. Like, that amount of mutation is incredible. And evil old Dr. Fauci was amazed at how much it mutated. So I'm kind of thinking this last illness was the Omicron. And I'm thinking the first illness that I had was the original strain. And that's probably why the first and last were kind of the worst. Excuse me. Now, prior to this, I was on the side that this whole virus was fake. Now, that's kind of the question. Is it real? Is SARS-CoV-2 real or is it fake? Now, there is an argument that it's fake. They made it up. It's not real. And they just said there's this virus and a pandemic and kicked it off. And there's a valid argument behind it. If you go in and research, they've never produced a sample of this virus. You can't get a sample. They can't give you one to study. They can't produce it. They don't have a physical sample. So why can't they? If it exists, they should have a sample, but they don't. So, and there's more to it than just that, but there's a valid argument that it doesn't exist. And I was on that side for the longest time because it would be completely possible to fake a cold virus like this and get everybody to go along with it. It got to do with psychology and the way the human brain works, but they know how to manipulate the human brain and populations on a whole, and they could do it. However, after this most recent sickness, I've kind of gone on to the side that it does exist. There is something real out there. And I know you can get on the terrain theory versus germ theory here. I'm not sure which is right. It sure seems like there's things that exist that can make you ill and they can spread to others. So that observation is kind of the path I'm going here. So after this last illness, I kind of do believe there is something now, because every time I've gotten sick, it spread through my family. So I think there is something out there, and I don't think it's the normal cold. I think it's something different because of my symptoms and how weird this illness operated in my body. And up until this point, I've always been healthy. Besides side effects, of my previous abuse, of drugs and probably unhealthy diet, too much sugar. I've never been one to get the cold or the flu. Prior to that first sickness in mid-2019, I couldn't even tell you the last time I had a cold or flu. I just don't get it. My immune system is somehow beefed up to where I don't get the occasional sicknesses. So the fact that I've been sick 4 times, in the past going on 3 years here is pretty incredible for me. So something is out there and it's strong enough to make me sick. So I'm on the side that it is real, but why can't they produce a sample? Well, it was likely created in a lab, which they frown upon you suggesting, but it was created in a lab. They were doing the gain of function. They were playing around with it. They were doing God knows what to it. And likely it's patented, because when they play around with that and change it, they can patent it. And the patents, give them revenue possibilities. So I fully believe now that it's real. They played around with it, changed it. They made it operate the way it does. All weird. You can be, feeling sick one day, and then the next day you're fine, and you might be fine for 2 more days, and then it comes back hard, and then you're down for 3 weeks. Or you might be down for a week, and then maybe you're feeling better, and the fever broke, and then a day later it's back again. And that's kind of the way this operates. And each sickness, it's, the symptoms they onset differently, different order, or maybe they're completely different symptoms that, rotate in and out. It's just real weird. It doesn't behave like a normal cold. So it's like they played around with it and designed it to act like this. And then having a patent on it, well, they don't want you to know that they have a patent on it and they're the one that created it. So you never produce a sample. You never show, the real existence of it, because then people could take it and study it and pass it around and examine it. And then, oh, the secret's out. You have a patent on it and, you created it. And, oh, how did it get out? Well, I fully believe it was let out on purpose, because the pandemic is more like a plandemic, where they had this planned. It was part of the plan all along, and just another stepping stone to their end goal. And it's working beautifully for them. They're starting to get some pushback now, but it's all under control. They got both sides infiltrated and manipulating, and it's going in their direction. So I am on the side that it exists now. But yeah, it's just a real weird virus, I guess, if that's what it is. But I've heard the same story from numerous people, where they've had kind of two main illnesses, kind of the first and this last one, and their symptoms were all weird and out of the ordinary, just like mine. And one YouTube channel guy I really like to listen to is Pockets of the Future, Paul Romano. And he has a backup channel, Apocalypse Now, with Paul Romano. And he was telling his story, because he just was sick recently, and he was sick the first time, and he was saying the first time he had the original, and it kicked his butt. And this last time, it was the Omicron. It was like completely different, and it kind of kicked his butt. And listening to his story and, his experience, and I relayed that to my experiences, and that's what, put me over the edge to where there's something real out there, and it's not quite natural. And if any of you guys want to check out Pockets of the Future, I highly recommend it. The guy is a very higher thinking spiritual guy. He practices heartfulness meditation, which, from my research and in-depth analysis in the organized religions and the history of them and how they got that way, it seems to me the heartfulness meditation system, I forget what they call it, the Samars something is the Indian name, but that system seems to be the most legit, honest system to connect with God, to connect with the higher power, to connect with the source. Now, I haven't tried it yet, because they say you want a clear head, no drugs, no pot smoking. I do like my THC, and it does help with some health benefits. And due to that, I haven't really tried heartfulness, because I don't want to try it and not be doing it right, and then get frustrated and not like it. So maybe one day I will try it. But I'm very for the spiritual nature of it. I'm very for individuals seeking spiritual nature, seeking the source, trying to get God inside them. Because higher thought and higher thinking is only benefited by traveling the spiritual path, and trying to connect to God. And I got to where I'm at through a lot of research, a lot of time invested in research, a lot of study, a lot of discerning, a lot of higher thought. And Paul Romano, he got to where he's at right now with heartfulness. The spiritual nature guided him to the level he is on now. And I feel we're pretty much on the same level, me and him. But I didn't get there through heartfulness and spiritualness as the mainstay. Mine was just hard work and research and higher thinking, thought on the truth movement. So I would like to try the Heartfulness someday, but we'll see. But I highly recommend his channel out because he has a lot of good insight into things, and he has a good point of view that benefits others. So, and his story, is very similar to mine. And he said he had people reach out to him, and they had kind of the same story. So, this is my story. I hope you can relate to it. Um, if you have your own story or any tidbit of information that you want to share, go ahead, share it in the comments section here. I'll check it out, read it. Others can read it, and the more information that's out there and that you can discern, the better off you'll be. The more wisdom you'll soak in, the more information for people, the more wisdom that can be gained from it. So I hope this my coronavirus story helps someone out there. So that's it for today with the Gold Pilled stream. This is Gold Pilled signing off. Peace, everyone.